Hi, I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And welcome to episode 75 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 24 of City Hunter, titled Secret Weapon Pink Sai, a female ninja enters the big city.
What did we say this was translated to on Wikipedia? I have to go search this now. This was a thing I meant to do before we got started. The final weapon, sexy Sai. This is a slightly different translation. A female ninja enters the big city. Is this where I got this from last time?
Isn't it, though? Because we're looking here at the wiki for City Hunter, which, yes, does have a different translation, because admittedly the translation that we got here from Discotech, we're looking at it here off the Blu-ray, doesn't exactly make sense in English.
No, because, okay, we need to understand and clarify that the word pink in Japanese, like if you're using the English word in Japanese, it can be a euphemism.
Right.
It's often used as a euphemism. So when they say sexy here on Wikipedia, they're translating it from the word pink. It often means vagina. So,
well,
there's
here,
a totally different connotation here than just being pink.
Because here we can see what kanji they're using. Can we just cross-check that real quick?
I think it's Momo-iro.
Oh, okay, then that would make sense, because traditionally, Momo in Japanese, that refers to peaches, but it can also refer to the color of pink.
Because peaches are pink.
Yeah, you're right, it's Momo-iro. Okay, so yeah, pink. But yes, it's a euphemism, is what we're saying here. They don't literally mean the color, they mean it's referring to...
sexy times.
Sexy times.
Which is, you're gonna wonder, why is that in this episode? And you're literally not going to understand until the last, 30 seconds.
Not even the last 30 seconds, like the last 10 at best. But that's not even a thing to worry about, because funny enough, this is a very action-heavy episode.
Yeah, honestly, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of plot to discuss here. I mean, we're gonna discuss it, but I don't know how long this is gonna be. Maybe we'll surprise ourselves and we'll force it to be longer than it needs to be, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
Well, let's just see. We'll try and get through it. So we start off this week's episode out in the forests in the hidden village of somewhere.
Just woods. Just three dudes being dudes running very fast in woods.
Yeah, we're looking at three ninja here, not the three ninjas that came out later, and those were much younger American kids.
No, just some guys, and they're running, and they're throwing shuriken around.
Ninja stars.
And for some reason they have a portrait of Ryo hanging on a tree, and we want to kill Ryo. Why? Reasons.
So each of these guys is named after a color, and they're also kind of thematically named after monkeys, because for whatever reason there in Japan, monkeys and ninja kind of go hand in hand.
Kind of associated with each other, yeah.
And so we've got Shirozaru, Aozaru, and Akazaru. So if you know your Japanese colors, Shiro would be white, Ao would be like aoi, so blue, and Aka would be red. So white monkey, blue monkey, and red monkey.
There's also a woman out here. She is also a ninja, and I guess she leads them?
Well, yes, she introduces herself as Kaede of Hanya, the 13th generation descended from the legendary Hattori Hanzo.
Yeah, sure you are, ma'am. Everyone is descended from Hattori Hanzo, I guess.
And if you've ever seen the Kill Bill movies, yes, that Hattori Hanzo.
The same. There's just the one famous Hattori Hanzo. Okay, there are no other ninjas that have ever existed ever in Japan in history except for Hattori Hanzo. That's it. It's the only one.
And not for another 20 more years until Naruto comes on the scene. Those are the only famous ninjas.
Josh, Naruto's not real?
He's real to me, damn it. But for whatever reason, Kaede and these three ninjas, and apparently there used to be more, but we find out about where they've gone later. Kaede is trying to lead these three ninjas on a specific mission, which is solely to get rid of City Hunter, because if they do, they will raise up in the ranks of the underworld.
I feel like it took a really long time to get all of that information out of this show, because for a long time it just sort of feels like, why are they doing this? Because reasons. And it takes a long time to finally reach, oh, well, people will know us if we kill City Hunter. It's not even a very good reason, if you ask me. This is a very dumb reason.
Well, to be fair, there have been other episodes where the bad guy's sole purpose in that episode was simply to try and raise up in the rank of the underworld.
And that was dumb too.
Okay, well,
and she's bad at it.
Well, see, that's the big thing is, as far as ninja go, right? Not Ninjago. Not Ninjago, not the Lego thing. Funny enough, there's a song off the soundtrack to the Ninjago movie that I'm going to see that guy perform tonight tonight as we're recording this. But that's besides the point.
I didn't realize there was a link there. Okay.
Yeah, there was a link there. You want to listen to a funny ninja song, go look up the Dance of Doom.
Have I heard Dance of Doom?
I've played Dance of Doom for you before. It's a fun song.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with this.
But she might as well be a Lego ninja because she sucks.
She throws her shuriken all over the place, and she cannot hit this portrait of Ryo. She's hitting literally everything else in the forest except for this portrait. Animals be running away, birds are flying off like, what the fuck? There's just ninja stars suddenly in my nest.
And the three other ninjas are just kind of like, oh, we can't tell her because she's our leader, but she sucks ass. Oh, no.
But they like her anyway. I mean...
Oh, they're very dedicated.
They wouldn't stick with her if they didn't just believe in sticking with her, or if they didn't just like her, like being around her or whatever.
Well, I think it's a combination of the two, that one, it's loyalty, and two, they just kind of like her as a person.
That could be, yeah.
But that's about all the setup that we're getting, so we're going to take the action back over to Shinjuku. We assume it's the next day, because we don't know how far away this forest is from Shinjuku. And out in front of Shinjuku Station, there's this giant crowd gathered, kind of in the direction and vicinity of the bulletin board. Mm-hmm. And Cowdy happens to be out there in some nice shorts, checking out, okay, what's going on out here? It's a nice spring, summer day, whatever. Hey, what's going on here?
Pushes through the crowd. There's, like you said, it's a big bulletin board sitting in front of the chalkboard. So, like, it's this wooden announcement board that, like, you would stick into the ground. I don't even know how they've managed to do it, if I'm to be honest. How did they erect it there in the station? And it's hand calligraphied. It's like hand-painted lettering. An entire...
Letter of challenge.
The letter of challenge, an invitation to duel from Kaede. And it says XYZ on it. Somehow, she also knows the code to get in touch with City Hunter, even though she's a ninja that lives in the woods.
But think about this here. She's a ninja who is aware of the underworld in and around Tokyo, which means she at least has that much information, which also means that Kaede is better at being in the underground than the photojournalist from the last 2 episodes.
That's true. She really should change professions then.
Yeah, there's a little bit to changing professions later, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. And so Cowdy realizes very quickly, oh crap, this giant wooden sign, this letter of challenge, is for Ryo. I need to go tell him now.
Well, it specifically says, meet me at this park at 3 p.m. Today. And you and I have had this discussion from just previous episodes because people leave these notes on the board all the time. And especially in a crowd this big, right?
It's a big crowd.
They're looking at this notice. Really, are none of them going, hey, I hear shit's going down at 3 p.m. You want to go see some shit go down? But that never happens.
Like, you would figure there'd be some onlookers, or is it so that people are so aware of what goes on around City Hunter, they're like, oh shit, something's going down at 3, we need to stay away from this area.
I mean, I guess that's a possibility.
I mean, because you see what happens around Ryo, guns go off, people get groped.
So then do all of these people also know exactly who Ryo is, and they know exactly how dangerous he is?
It's entirely possible.
And we just sort of play along and pretend, oh, we have to pretend. We do not know this guy exists because otherwise we might get wrapped up in something we do not want to be wrapped up in. Just shut the fuck up, pretend you didn't see anything, go on about your business.
Don't you realize City Hunter is infamous? He's infamous. Infamous. So yeah, Cowdy runs her ass back home, and Ryo's just sitting in bed reading manga, but it's a very specific, real manga.
Well, it's Jump. For one thing, it's Shonen Jump, which is exactly where City Hunter was being published at the time.
So that's already one in reference to begin with.
But on top of that, the cover art for that particular volume of Shonen Jump that he's reading at that moment in time features the face of Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, who, by the way, in the anime adaptation, shares the same voice actor as Ryo in this anime adaptation of City Hunter.
Yeah, so that's Akira Kamiya, who at the time, for both of those adaptations, for both Fist of the North Star and City Hunter, was doing double duty as Ryo's voice and Kenshiro's voice. So that's a reference right there.
It's a pretty big reference, yeah. A very blatant and very obvious one. This is a double whammy for in-jokes.
So Cowdy seems really, really worried about this challenge letter that they got. Like, oh my god, it was out there Shinjuku Station. We gotta do something about this. This looks big. And Ryo's like, nah, I got a date at 3. Why don't you handle it?
And then nobody handles it. No one handles it. And Kaori's just like, fine, hope this all blows up in your face. And if it does blow up in his face, it's not for kind of a long time.
Well, yeah, because the clock moves on. It's 3 o'clock. And Kaede and her 3 ninja monkeys, they're not really monkeys, again,
They're
having
dudes.
to read they're just dudes. She and the 3 monkey dudes are just out there waiting, and you would figure there would be some reaction shots, like people walking by the park, but you realize there's no one there at the park.
It's abandoned. Yeah.
It's this open field, Shakuji field, and nobody is there. So that proves my point that people are like, we need to stay the hell away from this field. Something's going to go down. If City Hunter shows up, I don't want to be there.
I guess that's the only way this works. So anyway, we see Ryo spending a lot of time not being at that park and instead just being with a bunch of women. He did seem to be on a date with a woman and then she had to leave. Like, she had other stuff to do. She didn't even seem like she'd had a bad time necessarily.
No, it was just over really quickly.
Just like, that was great, but I gotta go right now. See you later. Bye. And Ryo's like, well, but I still want to do stuff. I'm gonna go find other women. And he starts just harassing every single woman he sees on the street.
Every single woman, including another woman who may be a drag, and she, I'm assuming she, slaps the hell out of him.
Well, then it's not a guy in drag, it's a trans woman.
Okay, and then in that interpretation, she slapped the hell out of him.
Which, you know what? Good. Ryo deserved it. But Ryo still has not learned his lesson, and still sees another woman walking down the street from behind and is like, that ass.
Yes, he is. And he needs to go touch the booty.
He lunges at this woman who turns around and it's Kaori. Oh no, I can't be attracted to Kaori. That's dangerous and bad for some reason. Kaori certainly doesn't appreciate that she's being lunged at. I mean, like, even if you're attracted to that person, like, you don't just want to be lunged at.
Yeah, you don't want that. Like, if I suddenly came home from work and I'm like, hey, Kaylin, and she's like, what? And I'm like, huh! Like, that would be a problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless we've had this discussion ahead of time.
But no discussion has been had here. That's the issue, is that Ryo, again, he's trying to keep up the kayfabe that he is not attracted to Kaori.
He clearly is not keeping that up. He fucked up right now. And Kaori has to hit him with a 10-ton hammer because he's just being a friggin' creep.
But the thing about it is, her hitting him right here, she knows, oh, he only did it because he forgot it was me. That he couldn't see my face.
Yeah.
But also, with as observant as Ryo can be, how dumb can he be to forget what Kaori looks like even from the waist down?
He knows what her ass looks like.
No,
right
you
now.
know he knows. He has looked. Even if he hasn't looked like he's looking, you know he's looked.
Right. He's also, like, gotten caught with this mistake before in the past.
Yeah, this is like the second or third time this has
You
happened.
know that ass now.
You know that ass. The question, does he know that ass?
Anyway, so they still haven't gone to the park, and like 2 more hours have passed, and it starts raining, and this woman and her 3 henchmen are still standing there, and they're like, should we go? And she's like, no, that's exactly what he'll be expecting us to do.
And it's true. Like, that's her rationale the whole time. They wait literally the whole ass day. And I'm guessing that Ryo, after being hit by the hammer, just kind of stuck with Kaori for the rest of the day. Because it's nighttime now. I guess Kaori has gone shopping like they would on any normal day. And they're just stopping off for some, like, soba at a soba truck. And Kaori is the only one who cares or remembers, hey, you know that ninja challenge we got earlier? You think it was a good idea to blow that off?
Now, whatever happened to that? Who cares? I'm getting ramen. Give me some ramen, please. Here you go, sir. Here's a bowl of ramen. Why is there a shuriken in it? Because somebody has thrown a throwing star into his bowl of ramen while he's been ordering it.
Well, see, the funny part is, you see Kaede up on like a hilltop overlooking this soba truck, and she's like, I found you, Ryo Saiba, have at you! And then she whips the ninja star, and then you hear that sound effect that of a ninja star being thrown. Mind you, I've heard that multiple times in the Gundam series.
Yeah.
Like, you hear it all, like, the one time I know in specific, even at the beginning of the episode when they're throwing ninja stars, there's a very specific throwing sound effect that I remember from Endless Waltz, when Katra's heat sickle gets broken toward the end of the movie. It's that noise.
I mean, Sunrise does like sticking to their library of sound.
Yes. So a lot of these noises you'll recognize from other Sunrise shows if you're familiar with them. But what's funny here is that she throws it all hard and you hear that sound effect, but then when it goes through like the little curtain that like spells out the word soba, as soon as it goes through the curtain, it just kind of plop. falls into his soup of the soba, and he's like, how'd that get there?
It's ramen specifically. I know it's a soba truck, but clearly this guy who runs the truck also serves ramen.
Which you see in a lot of other shows, people going out for ramen trucks. One of the few things that I don't see a lot of in LA, like there's a ton of food trucks. I wish there were more ramen trucks. I've only seen like a handful, maybe at a convention or two.
Yeah, the one I'm familiar with are like the ramen in a shake cup. Like they put the ramen, the noodles at the bottom, and then they pour the broth and your toppings on the top, and then they put a lid on it and they hand it to you, and you have to go shaka shaka.
Yeah, shake it up.
You shake it up, and then you've got ramen in a cup.
Now, to be fair, that was pretty good the one time we had it.
It was pretty good.
They had good broth.
Yeah.
But we digress from the food talk. So it would be one thing to just have a shuriken found in your broth for your ramen, but then another shuriken shows up.
And then another one. Because all the ninja are there, they're all throwing shuriken at them, so they have to step out from the food truck to be like, hey, I'm eating noodles here, what are you doing?
And Kaede is up on the hilltop being like, haha, I found you. I am a ninja and I'm here to take you down. Have at you. And she pulls out this big-ass shuriken, this windmill shuriken. Not the exact same one that like Sasuke is known for using in Naruto.
No, but it's the same kind of imagery.
And she whips it at him. Everybody's like, oh, look out! And she completely whiffs.
Whiffs so hard, she just demolishes a car on the other side of the street.
Just like it completely passed over Ryo. Like it wasn't anywhere near them. And then just completely wrecks this car because it's huge. It's a huge shuriken. Probably pretty weighty.
I just love the way that it's nothing but rubble. A car that is just totally like it's been to the junkyard. It's gone. This car is just gone.
And Ryo and Kaori are just kind of looking like, was that you trying?
She's like, I see, you've dodged. What do you mean I've dodged? I just stood here and did absolutely nothing.
And she's like, alright, time to use my secret jutsu, Flaming Leaves. She doesn't actually know ninja magic or ninjutsu. What she's got is 3 guys in the trees with a bag of dry leaves, a leaf blower, and a flamethrower to create this illusion that she has called forth flaming leaves to go toward Ryo. And my question here is, what did she think was going to happen with that? Like, leaves could go all over the place, and even with the leaf blower.
And then they do. Then suddenly the wind changes.
Yeah, the regular ass wind called your ass and said, you suck, and then blew it back at them.
Can you imagine just an absolute nobody deciding they want to just suddenly pick a fight with you out of nowhere that you have never met or heard of, and they are very, very bad at it? I would have no idea.
You have no experience with
that. No
that.
idea what that's like.
Yeah, it kind of feels like you should have done your homework on this person you seemingly hate so much, but are so utterly ineffectual against.
Anyway, we're not done with this fight. I'm gonna keep going because this is working so well right now.
And it's working so well that these flaming leaves that have now been blown away by just regular unseen winds have blown onto Kaede's face because she's wearing, I guess we should have mentioned that, she's currently wearing full ninja gear, including a ninja mask, which is now caught on fire. And so she's got to throw that off and be like, snap it out, I don't want to get burned.
But now she's got the face of a pretty lady with nice, long, pretty hair, and Ryo can't resist that. And so what does he do? He starts sexually assaulting people because that's what he does. Unfortunately, this episode is very full of sexual assault. There's so much sexual assault in this episode. It's
Like, there was very little last week, and this week the animators or the writers were like, oh, well, we gotta make up for that.
Thanks, Sunrise.
Really appreciate that.
And possibly Hojo. I don't know if he wrote this story into his manga, but, it came from his work anyway.
But Kaori puts a stop to that. She hits Ryo with the 100-ton, which, mind you, in comparison, when he went lunging for her, he didn't make contact, but he only got hit with the 10-ton. So she was lenient on him earlier. But here, for someone else...
10 tons are for slaps on the wrist.
Yes.
100 tons are like, you deserved this.
Exactly. And yes, of course, Kaede is taken aback by this, and she's like, that's a weird tactic that you're using. I've never seen that ninjutsu before, but we're gonna do this again tomorrow at noon. See you there, bye.
And Ryo's like, okay, I guess I'll be there this time now that I know you're a pretty woman. See you there. Bye.
And so they all run off back to their hotel. So apparently they're staying somewhere actually there in and around the Tokyo area in Hanzomon.
Yeah, the Hanzomon is... I'm familiar with the Hanzomon station. I guess it's kind of near the Imperial Palace. I had to go down the Hanzomon line. There's a Hanzomon train line that goes through Chiyoda. So I'm vaguely familiar with the area that most likely that hotel is in.
Yeah, so they're holed up in Hotel Hanzomon, the three ninja Hanzomon. The three ninja and Kaede. Kaede is showering off, from feeling icky from Ryo, I guess. Completely makes sense.
Or just showering because the day is over and you're done with this shit.
Well, also, she was just out there in the rain for a
that
bit.
too, yeah.
And, you don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, too, while we're watching the episode. You figure they're ninja who have been training out in the woods. They have probably trained while just sitting out in the rain to, get themselves acclimated to the elements, to not get sick. But even then, me and my normal, I live in a city my whole life sort of way, I'm like, well, yeah, go take a shower. You don't want to get sick.
Yeah. Anyway, the dudes are having their own discussion while she's off bathing. And it's really about becoming salarymen.
Well, yeah, because they're speaking about two other ninja that were part of their group, Kurozaru and Momozaru. So, Black Monkey, Pink Monkey. Or Peach Monkey. Peach Monkey sounds funnier. And they're talking about, oh yeah, they went off to do other things that I've never heard of. Being salary-mans and being par-timers.
They really don't know what any of these words mean. And even salaryman is kind of an awkward phrase in English because that's not really a term that we use. But they really just mean an office worker. Yeah, you're a salaryman because you're only working for that salary. That's all you do. Your life is pointless otherwise.
But these guys don't know any better, and to them, this sounds amazing.
But yeah, they don't have to sleep in the fucking woods. They're not throwing shuriken at nothing.
They're like, man, I want to work in an office. I want to be a part-timer. That's next season's top anime. The ninja is a part-timer. But then they get interrupted by Kaede coming out of the bath and saying, wait a minute, I heard you guys talking. You're not planning on leaving me, are you?
And they're like, well, no, that's not really what we meant. We wouldn't leave you. And they mean that. They're serious. They wouldn't leave her because they like being around her.
She's like, yeah, well, don't do that. I don't like the sound of that. I also don't like this Western-style bathroom I just used.
I mean, okay, it's just a bathtub. It's all right.
If it's
Calm down.
If it's anything like the bathtub we were using the last time we were out in Japan, that wasn't Western. Was it Western style or not?
Well, I mean, it was more modern. See, I imagine the kind of tub she's potentially using out in the friggin' woods is one of these kind of wooden tubs, and it's raised up, and then you put firewood underneath it, and I imagine there's stones that heat up.
The kind you see in Yakuza Ishin.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you have to go heat the water in the tub by lighting fire.
You're basically on a stove.
Yeah, you're about to boil yourself, basically. Yeah, I imagine that's what she's used to, and not just getting in a bathtub in a room.
Which is well, aside from all that, we're doing all this because we're trying to reestablish the name of our ninja clan, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna make it to the top of the underworld, and yes.
Okay, really this whole thing has been very confusing to me. I don't think any of this matters or is important in any way, but I'm not her. I guess I shouldn't be judging what she thinks is important.
And so we're already done with half the episode. That's it right there. Because the rest of the episode is just fighting.
Right.
So it's the next day, and it's noon. Ryo decided to actually show up with Kaori in tow, and they're out there on the field of battle. Ryo asks them, all right, you guys are really sure you want to do this?
And they really do. So, okay. The majority of this fight does not require Ryo to use a gun. It requires him to use a lot of sexual assault for a little bit. That's kind of unfortunate. But also, it shows that he's way more nimble than you usually give him credit for. Sometimes we've seen him fight Yakuza dudes without his gun and do some kicks and some punches and stuff, and you're like, okay, he could kind of hold himself in a fight. That's fine. But then this goes and proves, nah, he's nimble. He can jump around. He can dodge. He can just kind of backflip out of situations.
Quite honestly, he's got about the agility level of Batman in this episode. The way I've seen him in the old animated series, the old 90s animated series, he's about that nimble. And not having to worry about a cape. And so Kaede starts off the fight like, all right, have at you, ha! And she lunges at him. Ryo definitely gets out of the way and goes in for the butt grab. Ha! 1 point. It's going back and forth for a bit. She's trying to get shots in. He is dodging like a mofo. He is not getting hit by a single thing. She's got her little short sword there, not making any contact whatsoever. The one good move that she was able to pull on him is a substitution jutsu where Ryo went in for like a bear hug and she subbed herself out with a panda.
That was pretty good, and then the panda exploded. So she got one in on him. But you know Ryo, he's fine.
Like, she tries to hit him 10 times, he dodges 10 times, and then he gets a thigh grope, runs up her back a bit, and then finally is like, hey, you look kind of tired. You want to stop? And she's like, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm coming at you right now with everything I got. Oh, shit, I tripped. And she just trips over a rock.
Once again, very bad at this. Why are we doing this? I don't know why we're fighting. This is pointless.
And Ryo has that look on his face like that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And so, like, he finally is like, all right, enough of this. He hits her with the chops, knocks the sword out of her hand, kind of like scoops her up, and he tells her, look,
you're not meant for this. You're not meant for this life. You're meant to just be loved by somebody. Go live your life and be loved.
And so it's at this point the three dudes are like, all right, we need to get in there. We gotta save her.
This is embarrassing. But let's go do this for her honor. Sure, that's why we're doing this.
And the thing is, the three dudes actually have some skill.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they're more skilled than she is. Not as skilled as Ryo is, but they're better than she is.
And they're like, haha, we're here on the scene and we're gonna help out. We're gonna activate our ninja powers. Ha!
They're starting to glow.
They're glowing in the colors that are respective to their names. So they're glowing in white,
the white,
blue,
the
and
blue,
red.
the red, yeah.
And so first guy comes in and he's like, all right, I got a secret technique. I'm gonna throw my chain sickle combination at you and you're gonna think you're seeing like 6 of them and you're not gonna know which one to grab.
Yes, I do. Haha. And he does. Ryo knows exactly which one it is, and he grabs the right one and he throws it back and he wraps the guy up in his own chain, and that's the end of that guy.
Yeah, Footstep starts playing while he kicks, and he's kicking that guy's ass. So he moves on to the next dude whose specialty seems to be kunai. So he's tossing kunai at Ryo. Ryo's dodging out of the way like an Olympian gymnast, flipping up into the tree with perfect leg form. And then somehow dude got on top of him and comes down through the tree, slicing down. And you see for a second what looks like blood having spurred out.
Yeah, like, what is this? And you know it can't be what it looks like because the camera had cut away from what he had actually cut. And they go to check the body, and the body is not a body. It is the tree branch he just cut through wearing Ryo's blazer.
So, like, Ryo used substitution jutsu.
Incredible. So Ryo's not a ninja? Because he's using ninja techniques.
He just used a ninja technique right now.
Right now? Can he throw shuriken? I would be very interested
Oh,
to know.
sure he can. And what was funny about that is that the music cut, like Footsteps stopped playing when the blood spurt showed up on screen. And then when they go in and check the body and see, wait, it's not him, then the music kicked back in again. Footsteps in the night.
It's very good. It's very good editing.
So now the last guy, Akazaru, he's like, all right, I'm the dude who's gonna finish you off. I got the iron hook. I'm gonna run you through. And so he's ninja running after Ryo, and Ryo's just kind of sprinting.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's gotten enough distance between the two of them.
He's trying to put distance between them, and he's running all the way out of the forest. And the last guy is like, "You can't run, coward! You better come back!"
And unfortunately, dude's right, because Ryo runs himself right up against this iron gate that's on the other side of civilization, where there's like power lines and buildings and all this other crap. So he is effectively backed against the wall.
But he's fine.
So dude's got him cornered. Akazaru got him into this area that I guess maybe he was trying to get him here to where he couldn't run away. He's like, all right, time to use my secret technique, dividing bodies, which if you've ever seen Ultraman, there's a move that Alien Baltan used.
Seijin,
the multiplicity move.
He starts chuckling with this creepy alien laugh, and then he duplicates himself and kind of spins around Ultraman in a circle. It's this goofy ninja-like trick, yeah, to trick you into not really being sure where he is. And that's literally exactly what this guy is doing to Ryo right now.
And it looks exactly the same.
It does.
And so Ryo, again, does have one superpower, if he has any, which is his super hearing. So he just closes his eyes and focuses. He's like, all right, I can hear where he is. I can hear where he is. I know how I'm gonna stop him. And just with his eyes closed, as dude's gonna go in for the kill shot, he raises his gun out of its holster, just shoots up seemingly randomly into the air, and fires once.
And the guy's like, I don't know where you're shooting, I'm over here.
And Ryo's like, oh, I know damn well where I'm shooting. Ryo shot directly at the power line that was above their heads. It breaks off from the tower, comes swinging down, and electrocutes the shit out of Akazaru.
Really, they should have both been in grave danger from these power lines coming down, and these live lines coming down and swinging at them. This man should be dead.
Like, I'm having to headcanon that those ninja costumes are insulated. That is the only way this dude's not Kentucky Fried Ninja.
That his legs did not burst open like a hot dog in a microwave.
Exactly. And so now Kaede and the other two ninja are running up, and she's like, oh god, no, don't do it. Because Ryo is like, all right, I'm done playing. He's got his gun to dude's head. Second time he's done that in a week.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not playing anymore.
All right, fine. I give up. Fuck us. Okay, we're gonna go.
And like, again, for the second time in as many weeks, that's how Ryo ends the fight. And I have to wonder, it's so similar to last week's finale that I'm like, did y'all get lazy?
I just feel like this episode, while it's got some moments, this is one of these ones where I'm like, this one's not very important. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's dull by comparison to a lot of other ones around it.
Yes. And she accepts defeat. She's like, all right, compared to you, we're amateurs. We didn't know how bad the underworld actually was. See, she's saying the same stuff that last week's photojournalist is saying.
I know.
And she's like, all right, fine. Thank you guys for helping me out. We're done here. Sarabada. I'm out. But before I go, I just got one question for you, Ryo. He's like, yeah, what's that?
Did you actually think I'm beautiful? Yeah, you give me a boner. What's up?
Like he says, Mokkori guaranteed. I guarantee this boner.
She's like, great, I will keep that in mind as they leave. And we've just got a couple more shots in the episode, and suddenly our ninja boys are not really ninja anymore. They're hanging out in Shinjuku Station during rush hour. It is very busy, and they are all dressed in business suits.
Like they got regular jobs.
They're just normal salarymen now. I imagine this makes them very happy. They're not super happy that they missed their train.
But they also have ninja skills, and apparently they're fast enough to catch up with the JR line.
In which case, why do they need to take the train? Just run to work. Just go to work. I don't understand.
That's a real train, though, the Yamanote line?
Yeah, the JR on the Yamanote line, they used the same green color that it's always ever been. It's probably the most convenient line in all of Tokyo because it's in a big, like, circle, hitting all the most important parts of Tokyo. And it connects to everything else in Tokyo, too. So, yeah, super important to Tokyo's transportation.
So that takes care of the three ninja. Back over at Ryo's apartment, he gets a knock at the door, and what's this? It's Kaede on the other end, and she's dressed up in traditional Japanese wedding attire, saying, alright, I'm taking a new strategy, we gonna get hitched.
Ryo's very confused, as well he should be. This woman has just jumped to a huge conclusion that him getting a boner for her means that they should get married. She said, well, yeah, I mean, you told me, I need to go live a life where I'm just being loved by somebody, and we're gonna have lots of babies.
Lots of strong boy ninja babies.
And they're gonna all be trained in the ninja arts, because, I mean, you're good at being a ninja too, even though you are not actually a ninja, but our kids will be really good at being ninja.
And this move that I'm doing right here of convincing you to marry me, copulate with me, and have ninja children is what we call the pink sai.
Pink sai? Wow, isn't that what the name of the episode is?
Thank you for remembering. Are you okay?
I don't know. That's just how that came out. I'm sorry. And I imagine if we were using the other translation that you can see on Wikipedia, it's the sexy sai. That's the weapon, is the sexy sai, because pink is a euphemism. But in any case, you see what I mean? That's the end of the episode.
Yeah,
and the name of the episode doesn't actually come into play at all in any way until the last few seconds.
Yeah, because all we've got left is Cowdy being like, is that how you get Ryo? Maybe I need to learn how to be a ninja. And then Supergirl starts playing. And that's it. We're done.
That's the show. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole ass episode. And there wasn't a lot to it.
No, there's not even good, aside from the Shonen Jump thing, there's not even good Easter eggs hardly in this
The
one.
only thing I would bring up is that I do believe she is one of the characters that is shown later. I think during City Hunter, it's either City Hunter 3 or City Hunter 91, when there's those quick shots of older characters, that she's one of the characters that gets shown in the opening.
In the opening. Na, 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 na. I actually really like that song, even though you're like, oh my god, it's too anime and too 90s. Like,
I know, like,
but I love that opening so much.
And you're perfectly allowed to, and I'm not going to argue with you whether or not it's bad. I just don't like it.
No, I know. It seems like it comes from a different show.
I
understand.
It makes City Hunter seem like a completely different show than what it is.
But it's fine. It's gonna be a while before we get there.
Yeah. So next week, this is the one that we wanted to start getting toward, because for us, actually watching City Hunter the first time through, not thinking about doing any of this next episode that we're about to get into really kind of opened up some conversation about where the characterization of Ryo was going.
Yeah, like you can see just from the episode preview of the next episode, there's somebody that needs protecting who is a woman, but she's disguising herself as a man to protect herself, and that she's getting protection from City Hunter. And I just specifically remembered, oh my god, this is the episode where Ryo starts wondering, am I attracted to this man in particular? Oh well, so what if I am? And I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about that idea.
Because Ryo is starting to figure out, potentially next episode, he might be a little gay.
It might be a little bi, at least.
Yeah.
If they're pretty, he likes them, and maybe gender doesn't matter as much as he assumes that it's supposed to matter. This is one of those conversations where I always say, sometimes people who are members of LGBT are just trying to cover up that they are by being homophobic.
Yeah, because you just haven't learned something about yourself yet.
Yeah, people still need to learn. Like, being marginalized doesn't mean you don't still need to unlearn some shit. Anyway, that's a huge discussion to be had next time. In the next 2 episodes, because this is a 2-parter coming up.
So we're going to get into that next week. It's going to be real interesting, so stick around for that, because we're going to have a handful to deal with.
So come back next time when we cover the 25th episode of City Hunter 2, Targeted Witness, a dangerous beauty dressed up like a man, Part 1.
And if you want to catch us outside this podcast, you can always find us both over on Twitter. For now, I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 75th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, I'm gonna make Josh dress like a woman.
But what does that mean?